Mustafa Hamid, 6 others get 14 million Ghana cedis bail. And NPP slams NDC over Galamsey surge. This is the Chronicle, and the Chronicle has on its front page a story with screaming headline, Forestry Commission board sues Abronya DC for 20 million Ghana cedis. And there's another story, I haven't bought cars for Legon girls, angry Sami Jenfi sues a fierce Schwarzenegger for 10 million Ghana cedis. On the front page of the Ghanaian Times is the headline, Galamsey fight. It's a marathon, not a sprint. We will win it. And this is from the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Ama Kofi Boa. So these are the stories on the front page of the major stories today. We're taking a very short break, and when we come back, I would introduce the panelists today. I suspect that today I'm going to have to act as a panelist and host at the same time, discussants and a host at the same time. We'll manage that and see, how it goes. But for now, we're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, I will introduce the discussants. Well, hello and welcome. Good Morning Africa, our morning show on Pan-African television. And it is my pleasure to introduce the discussants for this morning. This morning we have in our studio the Venerable Alhaji Inusa Fuseni. And he's been so many things that sometimes it's difficult to introduce him. First of all, he's a very senior lawyer. He's been Minister of Lands and Natural Resources before and has headed other ministries before and so on. He's a very respected member of the National Democratic Congress and a very prominent figure in Tamale, So Alhaji Inusa Fuseni is on the panel this morning. And then we have my own very good friend, a man I've come to respect so much over the years. We used to do Alhaji and Alhaji in the days of Alhaji Bature, and he speaks his mind. Very honest, person. The distinguishing thing about my friend Philip London is his honesty. Very, very honest, discussant. And we are very, very happy to have him on this show. Currently, he's described as a spokesman for the Movement for Change, and we are being told that the Movement for Change will soon turn into something else. I think that we would wait for that. Are you going to start this month?
As a correction, I'm not a spokesman for the Movement for Change.
What are you, leading member?
Yes, I'll just say that.
Leading member of the Movement for Change. Yes. Well, it's all the same. Leading members speak for the they speak for the organizations. Anyway, we're going to start this morning with the African story. And the African story we've selected for discussion is a very interesting story. Donald Trump, the President of the United States of America, has indicated or has claimed that a mega dam which is being built by Ethiopia is actually financed by the United States, or the United States made financial contributions. An Ethiopian official says no, there's no truth in it. What is happening? Maybe we should start by reading a few paragraphs of the story. And it says, an Ethiopian official has denied Donald Trump's claim that the United States helped fund Ethiopia's new mega dam on the River Nile, saying it is false and destructive. Last week, President Trump said the controversial dam was built with United States money, largely. Officially known as the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, the project is Africa's biggest hydroelectric plant and a major source of pride for Ethiopians. Over the 14 years it has taken to complete GERD, the Ethiopian authorities have repeatedly said that the dam was funded by the government along with contributions from the Ethiopian people. The dam has, however, angered Egypt and Sudan, which lie upstream on the River Nile, and fear the dam could lead to less water flowing into their countries. So this is the story, and I'd like to start off with Alhaji Inusa Fuseni.
Well, so today is a historic day that we have the quintessential Kosi Pratt, a comrade, a discussant, hosting the program. I'm privileged to be part of this history on Pan-African TV. And to say good morning to our cherished viewers. I mean, Pan-Africa definitely is an international network on, particularly a Pan-African TV in many African countries. And as we sit down here, I'm sure many Africans are watching us. Now, but before I came here, I was just wondering what is happening in Palestine. Even though the story of Ethiopia appears to be very interesting, but I thought that we should devote a little time
Please go ahead.
in looking at Palestine. Because what is happening in Palestine is not only disturbing, but it's also steeped in what we might say are crimes against humanity. And it appears to me that Israel has consciously, deliberately used hunger as a weapon of war. They've been able to do that successfully by the tacit support of the United States of America, where they have removed global institutions that are known for distributing aid impartially to people in distress, and have brought in their own people onto the Gaza Strip to distribute this aid. As I speak, more than 1,000 people have lost their lives just in an attempt to access the aid. Yesterday, I saw a picture of a child who was totally emaciated. And this morning, I listened to accounts of people in Gaza, and while talking on international networks, they were weeping because they simply could not get food to feed their family. But Israel is living in denial. There's no hunger. Meanwhile, trucks are not being allowed. I think that I'm saying this here because many African countries are watching, many people are watching this program. I think that is about time that no one says that Israel has no right to self-determination. We're not saying that. What we are saying is that the people of Palestine ought to be treated with dignity. Hunger should not be used as a weapon. Just like the Israelis will not be happy if hunger is used as a weapon by any group of people against them. Just like the Israelis were not happy and the world rose against Hitler's Germany when they subjected the Israelis to brutal massacre. Okay, and Israel and the world had to hunt the Nazis for close to 90 years. It is totally unacceptable for the people of Palestine to be dehumanized to the extent that they have had to weep for food. So, I mean, it's so disturbing that even in normal times and peaceful times like we are, hunger is a potent weapon for stripping away the dignity of persons. A hungry person lacks dignity, can beg anybody, can do things that clearly a normal welfare human being will not do. So I pray the international community to exert pressure. I mean, let the food go in and feed the children and women in Gaza and give opportunity for the conflict to be ended. That's what, I mean, I was so disturbed this morning that I thought that my distinguished host, I should bring this to the fore.
Maybe you can take your take on Palestine.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And in fact, first of all, I'm very happy to be part of this historic, very historic program. And I'm grateful. And greetings also to all the viewers, across the world and diaspora who tune into this program. My brother, you have said it all, but there's one thing you said that I didn't quite agree. That Israel is using hunger. They are using starvation. Starvation! It is inhuman and must be condemned. I am happy that some of the Western leaders have begun to voice it out. I saw, I think, the Irish, I don't know whether it was the Prime Minister or one of the ministers, who was also stating the case, condemning what Israel was doing. Israel is a country that has suffered. But Netanyahu and his people should remember, in the days when Adolf Hitler and his commanders were doing what they were doing, they thought they were invincible. They thought they were invincible. Even when it ended, some of them disappeared to the other side of the world, changed their identities and melted into the system. They thought that was it. Decades later, they were found out and they paid the price. So those Israeli politicians and leaders who are defending what is going on, history has taught us that these things, the Almighty doesn't allow these things to go just like that. They will answer for their deeds. What is going on is inhuman, must be condemned, and is totally unacceptable. Nobody is saying what happened when the Gaza, when the Hamas attacked Israel. Nobody saying it, justifying it. But we saw what Hamas too went through. And we've seen that also in history when people are subjected to such inhumanity. We saw it in apartheid South Africa. The people naturally react. Ireland, that's what I say. They have their troubles. We saw what the British were doing to them. There are countless examples in the history of the world. So we cannot in any way support or defend what Israel is doing. It is condemnable that all good people of the world should raise their voices as more and more voices are being raised against what Israel is doing. Look at the hundreds of aid trucks filled to the brim waiting to cross. And the Israeli government just says no. And what is worse, my brother, while we see this, and we are seeing it live. This little child you just mentioned. Yeah. Live, the world virtually watched it live. A little child who hasn't got a say in what is going on, who is totally innocent of all the developments, has had to die of starvation before the eyes of the whole world. How can we sit down and watch this? No, it's unacceptable. We must condemn it. I condemn it. And it is my prayer that sooner than later, the aid will go through and the people responsible too would answer for it.
Great. Yesterday morning when I was driving to work, I tuned into the British Broadcasting Corporation, and there was a Palestinian woman, pregnant woman, who is just about to give birth, and she was narrating her story on BBC, and she was saying that, look, childbirth normally should be occasion for celebration.
Yeah.
But she's unable to celebrate. because she's starving. She's not able to develop breast milk that the child needs to feed on. So she's sure that the child she's going to she's going to give birth to will die. So childbirth for a Palestinian woman is no longer an occasion for celebration and joy. It's pain. And all of us are seeing Palestinian children. And as Philip said, these are children. They have not taken any decision to go to war. They are not involved in the war. Innocent people. And they are being starved to death. Official figures say that those who have starved to death are more than 1,000. Those are official figures. They could be far more than that. You understand? And this is clearly unacceptable. I mean, starvation is the worst form of torture. You know, somebody puts a bullet to your head and you are gone within seconds. But when you are being starved to death, it can take years of pain, years of disease, and so on. And this is what the Israeli government is doing to the Palestinian people. And the shock of it is that government from the so-called civilized world are providing the weapons and ammunition for the commission of these crimes against the Palestinian people. It's unbelievable. These so-called Western governments which pride themselves as epitomes of democracy and so on, are the people who are funding this genocide against the Palestinian people. Look, I'm a Ghanaian. I live in Ghana. And I want to put a lot of pressure on the Ghanaian government to take some action. I mean, Ghana has voted against the genocide and so on, but we need to go beyond that. It is continuing. Our vote in the UN has not stopped the atrocity against the Palestinian people, and we need to do a lot more to bring an end to this very vicious, inhuman strangulation of the Palestinian people. Just as a matter of interest, the Chief Justice of Palestine is in Accra. Wow. The Chief Justice of Palestine and the Special Advisor to President Mahmoud Abbas is in Accra. And he's held one meeting with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. I hear that he's likely to meet some very prominent government official today. He was initially scheduled to meet with the President, but that may not be possible, and he will meet with a very prominent member of government today. I do hope that the Ghanaian government listens to him attentively and begins to take more vigorous solidarity action, for the people of Palestine. When we struggle for Palestine, we struggle for ourselves.
Yes.
When we struggle for Palestine, we're not struggling for somebody else. We are struggling to maintain a rules-based world order, a world in which the human rights of everybody is respected, and so on. So that's very, very important for all of us. I think we can now switch back or switch forward to the controversy between Ethiopia and the United States of America.
So that one clearly. I do not simply know why Trump has ventured into saying what he said. But gradually Trump is becoming a leader whose words, when fact-checked, have not been proven right. I mean, there are many instances where he said things and those things have not been proven to be right. I think a leader, honesty and integrity should be the hallmarks of a leader of a great country like the United States. And I don't think that Donald Trump is doing the American people any good. Now, the second thing is that why will Donald Trump throw in that at this time? Because the construction of the great Ethiopia Renaissance Dam has brought about conflict between Ethiopia and Egypt. It has also brought about conflict between Ethiopia and Sudan. Being downstream, they believe that the construction of the dam will deprive them of some quantity of water and might affect agric and other commercial activities in their countries. So what does Trump want to achieve by saying that Ethiopia, American money funded the Ethiopian dam? In any case, even if there was some American money, was it a gift? Because I'm reading a book, the Confessions of a Hitman, Economic Hitman, and you will see that the whole world has been organized and programmed in such a way that the Western industrialized countries and their corporations, which corporations have got shareholding structures which are quite interesting. I mean, almost all the big actors in the United States, Britain, Europe, have shares in big companies that are exploiting our resources in Africa. They take the decisions to give us loans. These loans are funneled back to these corporations, these big companies, and they do that deliberately because they don't want us to come to escape from the trap, the loan trap, and to keep us perpetually, subservient, or if you want, kowtowing to their dictates. And there's a lot of research which shows that loans actually have not helped to develop any of our African countries or third world countries. Now, so for Trump to be saying this is quite surprising. The last thing I will say on that is that the Ethiopian people have come back forcefully to say that, well, we are surprised that Trump is saying this to us because we funded the dam, the construction of the dam from our own resources. Government mobilized resources, and the people of Ethiopia contributed towards the construction of the dam. And so this is an indigenous affair of the Ethiopian people seeing the great advantage a dam of that nature could bring to Ethiopia and contributed towards the construction of the dam. Now, I just hope that the government of Ethiopia will come out and say, because our own country, back in our own country, you know that there's a dispute as to the quantum of loan that Ghana has contracted.
Yes, at that levels.
At that levels. Whereas, and the difference is about 100 or something. No, about, is it 10 point something billion? Or more. Or more. Because whereas one document is saying that it's about 870 something billion Ghana cedis, another document is saying 700 something billion Ghana cedis. That's Ghana. So the Ethiopian government should come out because many things can happen. Well, if Ghana, we cannot even reconcile our loan portfolio. There were loans taken secretly that we don't know about, that are now on the loan books, that have been expended on matters that we don't know of. We don't know. So if the Ethiopian government is the only legal accredited institution that can tell the people of Ethiopia and the world at large that no loan has been contracted or no money has been received from America for the purposes of constructing the dam. So I believe that they will come out to clear the air, and then we can fact check what Trump has said.
Yes, well, first of all, I must commend the people of Ethiopia for this great achievement. I mean, in terms of its engineering, even the whole thought process of coming up with this whole project is something that we must commend them for. And they have demonstrated what Africa is capable of doing. Locally mobilized resources, local talent and expertise and all that. Of course, I'm sure there was some level of foreign, involvement, but it is fundamentally an indigenous project. And it has been very successful, and the people of Ethiopia are very proud. So for Donald Trump, I don't know what his thinking or motivation was in saying that, because what I personally have come to observe is that he doesn't seem to have much interest in anything good to do with Africa. He doesn't seem to have anything like that. So for him to have, of all the issues that he's dealing with, all his problems that he has, and all his predecessors that he's fighting and insulting and all that, for him to have raised this issue about Ethiopia, well, I don't know his motivation. But I think the response from the Ethiopian minister, describing it as false, not just untrue, he could have used the word untrue. It's a suggestion as to how reprehensible they find the whole suggestion. False and destructive are the words he uses. You know, so I don't know what you know the motivation was. I just hope that, and you see, the Americans can be bad people. They can. I'm not saying they are. They can be. The Nile has always been, it is the source of life, when I say source of life in quotes, for the countries which have the banks running through them. Ethiopia, Sudan, and Egypt. And anything that affects the flow of the Nile River has always been sensitive to these countries over the years. And they've had their disagreements over the period. Sometimes it has gone quite close to troubles, etc. But they've always gone through and managed those difficulties when they came up. I just hope that as this dam has become operational and they anticipate a reduction in the water that is going to flow down their countries into the Mediterranean, they will manage that challenge well among them, you know, so that that challenge that comes up should be a source of, should present them another challenge to come up with other ways, to find more ingenious ways of managing with the limited water that comes. Because all of them, Egypt and Sudan, in the agriculture, the successes they've done with the Nile, you know, in those very arid conditions, you know, have been very, 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 in some cases, very spectacular. Some things that we should also learn from, you know. So I just hope that, and of course, so because of that, we can understand and appreciate why they will be so worried about any reduction in the water, especially in these days of global warming, when even waters you expect, rains, etc., you expect do not come the way they do, rivers are not flowing the way they do anymore, etc. So they have genuine concerns. My hope is that they will be able to manage it well, sort it out, and maintain the good relations that they've had among themselves. And then, you know, it will affect their tourism, their agriculture, their energy production, because they also have their own dams along the way, you know. So, as to Donald Trump and why he said that, I don't know. I don't want to even go into the issue of Donald Trump, because that's another conversation altogether. You know, so that's all I have to say on this matter.
Well, thanks very much. My worry, you know, is much deeper. This is the President of the United States of America, a nuclear-armed country. And persistently, he's demonstrating that he's far removed from reality. He gets his facts wrong. As for analysis, you know, it's terrible and so on. Even basic facts, he can't get them right. On many occasions. Look at his tiff with Cyril Ramaphosa in South Africa. Now his tiff with Ethiopia and so on. We should be careful. One day this guy may press the nuclear button based on his fixations and so on. You know, that's my worry. Now the other worry is that the Western countries have always profited from portraying Africa as a desperate lost cause. You understand? Now you have a case where Ethiopia, an African country, has built this monumental hydroelectric project from local resources without reliance on the West and so on. And Donald Trump comes and says, don't mind them, we were involved, we largely provided the so and so on. That's an attempt to devalue African ingenuity and to devalue our belief in the self-reliant approach to national development and so on. And I take that also very, very seriously. In any case, I'm told that it's time for a commercial break, and we're going to have a commercial break. at the life and times of Professor John Evans Atta Mills, who passed away 13 years ago and who today is being remembered, with a wreath-laying ceremony and other functions and so on. So when we come back from the commercial break, we will take a look at Professor John Evans Atta Mills, his life and the times within which he lived. So short commercial break.
Hello, Madam Bola. How are you and how is Lagos?
Kwame, Lagos day. How is Accra?
Accra is fine. We can't complain. Are my fabrics on the way?
Yes, I hope my money is also on the way.
As we speak, my accountant is sending money to you and others at GCB.
Money joins.
That is a lifesaver.
Yeah, Lady D. What's up, baby?
Tia, I got the money.
Oh, that's beautiful. It was fast.
Oh, and guess what? It was so easy and faster than I thought.
I'm busy right now. Let me call you back later, yeah? All right. Love you, baby.
See you soon. Bye.
From country to country, make seamless transactions across Africa with GCB. For more information on parts and how to get started, call toll-free on 0800 422 422.
GCB, your bank for life.
Well, welcome back to the Good Morning Africa show, the breakfast show. And this is the show which has many distinguished panelists, as you can tell yourself. And today the discussion is focusing on many issues. We've already discussed Palestine, we've discussed this significant dam that Ethiopia has built and so on. And perhaps it is time to come back home. And what else to discuss beyond Professor John Evans Atta Mills, President of Ghana, indeed the first President of Ghana to have died, in office, and who is being today celebrated, today being the 13th anniversary of his passing. We'd like to start off with Alhaji Inusa Hussaini, Professor John Evans Atta Mills. Who was he? What did he do? Did he make an impact on the Ghanaian society and so on?
Well, I think that Professor John Evans Atta Mills is many things to many people. That one defining trait of Professor John Evans Atta Mills has been the universal acknowledgement of his patience, of his humility in the face of aggression, if you want, or attacks on his person. I listened attentively to Madam Charlotte Osei, the former Electoral Commissioner of the Republic of Ghana, deliver the keynotes in the celebration of the 13th anniversary of the passing of Professor John Evans Atta Mills. And his address was not only interesting, but it was quite revealing. It was interesting to the point that he had said long before Professor Mills died, and he said it in his speech, that Professor Mills will be remembered, will be appreciated after he's no more. Charles said those words not in actual fact contemplating death for Mills, but praying that Mills will sit through his term in office and leave the scene. Ghanaians will appreciate him. But as fate will have it, some few weeks or days after he said those prophetic words to Mills, Mills passed on to the eternal world. And today, in fact, when Mills passed on to his ancestors, the first group of people who felt the impact of the devastating loss were the market women. I was then a deputy minister of energy. And on radio and TV, you found women wailing. Even the men were struck by Mills's death. And when we were lining up to view the body, the minority, and I still in the queue to go Mills. Professor Mills was a patient man and deeply understanding of human nature. I came into contact with Mills vice president, and I was the team president on the campus of the University of Ghana. And at the time,
when you say team movement, you're referring to this
student, the tertiary institution network of the NDC, tertiary educational institutional network of. And you will go to Mills and he will listen to you attentively, offer suggestions on how your problems could be solved. And if you left him, you will be totally satisfied that the man was being honest with you. Indeed, when President Mills went into opposition and went to Canada, I was part of a group of people, including the President General Secretary of the party, Fifi Kwete. There was a gentleman we called Bismarck Agbamanule, Elvis Afriye, who met Mills, and a group of others who met Mills at the airport and escorted him to the airport shell. I understand his friend was the owner of the airport shell. That we met, and then he told us how he was back to assess the situation and see whether he could offer himself again. Consistently, and on one occasion when I entered his office at Papaya area, the building of Harry Sawyer. He said, "You know, sir, I am a bridge between those of us who are old and going off the scene and you people. I'm struggling to take over the power and hand it over to you." So I was not surprised that when Mills won, a majority of his ministers were young people. He had seen himself as a bridge. So he made me deputy minister. Fonka, there was a gentleman, his name, because he has since repented, who had gone on TV and was lambasting Mills. He was on Joy FM, his sister. At that time, somehow President Mills was listening to the news, the discussion. It was me. So he got them to call me. But, sir, what are you saying on news?